Welcome to Minnesota Sports Talk. I'm Josh Coan.
I'm Carter Burquest.
Today we're talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves. Our season is over. Some other teams might still be playing, but our season's done. So even though we made the playoffs for the first time and we had a 13-year drought, first time in 14 years we made the playoffs, even though we had this great run, we had the best year we've had in over a decade, do we need to fire our head coach?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I'll get into it more why, but I've just never been so down and out on a Minnesota team ever. Even when the Twins had the worst record they'd had in franchise history, we've had 14 years of futility for the Timberwolves here, and I've never been so out on a team or a coach ever. I'm just very frustrated with how it's panning out. Thibodeau, I just think, needs to go. He's not going to. I'll preface that because we have a very incompetent owner in Glenn Taylor as well, and I don't think he will fire Thibs. He's owed too much money. So that being said, I do think he needs to go, and here's why. I don't think he's adaptable, number one. He tries to fit square pegs into round holes. He thinks his philosophy is always right. When good coaches take the talent around them and adapt their system to that, getting the most out of players, he gets by far the least out of players possible. I think the players dislike playing for him. They don't have fun just watching them. Even in the playoffs, we had one good game. The rest was absolutely pathetic. Down the stretch was pathetic basketball. I'll go a little bit more into the stats why, but I'll get your take here quick first.
Yeah, I don't want to pile on Thibs much more than you already are. I'll just say that I agree, and that even though it sounds stupid to have the best season in over a decade and you still want to fire your head coach, the team's just way too talented to not win enough. He's not getting the most out of the talent that we have, and so that's on the coaching. If people want to point out Cat for not having a very strong series in the playoffs, that's fine, but when Cat's not the only one struggling, when Wiggins was probably your best in the playoffs, but even he wasn't great, Butler wasn't great, nobody really stepped up their game. Everybody's struggling, and that's on the coach. When we hired Thibs, I was just as excited as anybody. I thought we got a great coach. But I think 2 weeks into the season, his first season, we did a video and I said it's time to go. He clearly isn't getting to these types of players. Whether it's because he yells too much or because, like you said, he's just trying to fit them into his system, even though they don't work. It clearly didn't work with Thibs from the very beginning, and things really haven't gotten better. They won more games this year because Jimmy Butler is a veteran player in his prime, and so he added value to the team. But when you look at Wiggins isn't better than he was last year, Cat isn't better than he was last year, the team as a whole is not playing any better, and that's on Thibs.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I was pumped to get Thibs, but I thought he had this epiphany and he learned how to adapt to the style of basketball that's being played today, how to adapt and be a different coach than he was before. He clearly did not. When you look at the Western Conference, there's no way you can convince me there's more than two teams in the West that are more talented to the Timberwolves. Obviously, the Warriors number one. I could even argue that the Timberwolves, from top to bottom, talent-wise, based on a pure talent basis, obviously Houston's team fits a lot better together, has a lot better coaching. But when you stack players up, talent for talent, I don't think the Timberwolves are that far away from Houston. And I think they're a lot better than teams like the Jazz and the Blazers and the Pelicans. It's just frustrating to watch this team be in eighth. I don't think they're that way. I don't think when you look at this team, we won on pure talent alone. We took by far the most contested jump shots in the NBA, by far the least amount of open jump shots, and Thibs' vaunted defense is designed to take away the mid-range jumper, which is exactly what teams want to get taken away. They don't want to take a mid-range jumper anymore. They want to take a three and into the paint, which is exactly what the defense is allowed to give up. So that's very frustrating. I'll be done. He needs to go. The players dislike him, and he's as bad of a GM as he is a coach. I'll add that in as well, as this team is just so poorly constructed. I'm done. He needs to go, but he won't.
Yeah, we could rant on Thibs, honestly, for hours, and the two of us probably have talking together, but I agree. He probably won't go. Glenn Taylor won't fire him. He gave him too much power as a GM and the coach. His contract's too big, expensive, too long. Glenn Taylor's not going to let him go, but he should. That's what it means to be a Wolves fan right now. Wish Thibs could get fired, but he won't. Want to know what you guys think? Are we crazy to fire our coach after the best season we've had in over a decade, almost a decade and a half? Let us know what you think. Is Thibs' time up in Minnesota, or do you think he should stick around? Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
See ya.